video. We figured we need to wrap this series up. We've done a few videos, so we're going to get right back into it. So as you guys remember, we started working on the Audi Oakley car for me, and you guys seen some of the basic things. But Thomas brought some cars out, and we're going to talk about a few things. So one of the things with these cars, if you get into serious racing, there's magnet racing and non-magnet. And what that means is just like it sounds. Either the car has a magnet or a car does not have a magnet. You guys mainly do non-magnet, correct?
Right. Well, I think most of the really serious racers run non-magnet cars, but there are a few out there that still like the speed and everything about magnet cars. It's, you know, they're literally glued to the track.
Yeah, we'll do some runs of this later on, and I'll show you guys the difference between the car with the magnet and without the magnet, because I definitely don't know how to drive, so you're definitely going to see a huge difference of how the car drives with and without the magnet. But overall, we are going to show you guys how to pull this magnet out. So there's a lot of things to do with the slot cars that I didn't realize about, and Tom has graciously brought his box out and some of his vintage, some of his wheels. But let's kind of focus more on the series still, and then we'll get into some of the cool stuff that he's got here. But you were telling me that there are tons of aftermarket tires and wheels. Tell me a little bit about those.
Well, there's several different manufacturers of tires. There's silicone tires, there's urethane tires. Some of the major manufacturers actually have some different compounds of rubber tires too that work on, it depends on the type of track, wood track. Some of the urethane and some of the really nice rubber tires work better on a wooden track, a routed track. On plastic track, silicones are generally considered the best, but it depends on the silicone. Super tires, to me, are the best silicones out there. That's what our clubs run exclusively. Now, if we run a true vintage car, there are some urethane tires made by Ortmann out of Germany. They take original vintage tire and then they make a mold, and then they use their whatever compound they use to make a copy of that tire, and that's some of these cars. This is an old Cox car. Has the rear tire is actually a urethane reproduction of an original Cox tire from the 60s, middle 60s. But these are super tires. These are made in, oh crap, I forgot. Anyway, they're U.S. stuff.
They're made somewhere.
Yeah, they're made in the U.S.
We can get them here at Copar's Hobbytown.
Yeah, there you go. And but they make tires for almost every car out there. And they continue to improve the compound and the traction on the cars, and they continue to make different tires for different cars that don't have tires available for them yet. And they're always wanting to listen to people out there or suggestions for tires for this car or that car. So.
Perfect. So on this car, we have just the stock tires, and I remember we scuffed them up. So when you're first starting out, you guys will have to go back to the series to see some of the basic things that we did, but I know that he tuned it up a little bit with the stock and gave it some lube to it. And I think we're about ready to actually hit some track. But I've got to ask, I know it takes a skill to drive this. When I originally was like, it's slot car, anybody can do that. I remember when I was a kid, you pulled trigger and you went. And generally, even full speed, you hit a corner, it's still held down. But once I started hanging out with these guys and seeing some of the stuff that they're doing, there is a skill to this. And I guess what would be some advice you'd give to somebody that, is doing like what I'm doing, got a box stock car, everything that you've been able to do is something that anybody can do. I mean, obviously we got to take the magnet out still, but let's pretend the magnet's not here. What would be some advice you'd give somebody that's just starting out, that wants to be part of like the club and wants to be the cool kid?
Well, assuming you have your own track or a place to run your car, the best thing to do is after you take the magnet out, just run it the way it is and see how it works. Now, some cars, particularly Ninco, which this car is, their stock tires are actually really pretty good on rubber or wood tracks. So try it out first, see how it handles. If it's not up to your liking, change the rear tires to either silicone or urethane or whatever you have available. Then try it again and see how that works. More than likely, it'll still give you better traction. The next thing you'll probably want to do, sometimes these cars without the magnets kind of like to bounce around a little bit. So take the chassis out, put a little weight, kind of experiment where you want to put the weight. Put a little bit of weight in the front is where I usually start with. It keeps the front end of the car down, especially a lot of these cars with really good tires, when you take off from a start, they like to wheelie. And a little bit of weight in the front actually keeps it down and helps it a little bit. And then you just have to kind of experiment with where you want to put the weight. Sometimes you want to put it towards the back. It just depends on the car. This is an angle winder, so you've got a lot of weight in the back, fairly evenly distributed. So you probably want to start with a little weight, maybe up in the front here, just to kind of, you know, get the feel of the car. It just takes a little bit of practice, a little bit of experimenting, but that's usually the best way to do it.
And you guys bear with us. The video is going to cut in and out a little bit because I'm going to go probably drive this for a few minutes and get a couple of video shots to see how it does with the magnet, and then we'll do it without the magnet to kind of see the difference of it. And then we'll also show you guys how to pull the magnet out of a car, specifically this one, but I have a feeling some of them are kind of generally along the lines. So you guys, like I said, it's going to kind of be towards the end of the video, so watch fully. But I want to talk about some of the cool stuff Tom has. I've been to his house. You guys have seen the video of his house. This guy has, I don't even know how many slot cars and models, but
350 slot cars, almost 300 models.
And I bet he can name every single one of them and every single maker in almost every year, I bet. Just about close. I can only, and I bet he has a lot of Mustang ones. I could be wrong.
I might, yeah, I might. Yeah.
He's a bit of a Mustang fan. What can I say? But tell me about some of the older ones that you got here. I know that you collect. I know some of them are probably Shelf Queen only, and some of them you probably run here and there. So just kind of tell me a little bit about a little bit of everything you got here.
Well, everything I have in a box I run. I did bring a few vintage cars with me, but we'll talk about those later. This is a company called Pink Cars. It's not around anymore, but they did some really nice stuff. This has an aftermarket chassis. It's called a Parma International chassis. It's just real simple, but it works great. And these are some of the aftermarket wheels you can get. These are wire wheels made by BRM. They're really, really nicely done.
Like true wire wheels?
They're true wire wheels.
Oh, hey, look at that. They truly are wire wheels.
They're true wire wheels. They're not plastic things. They're individual spokes and photo etched, and they're really, really nicely done.
The detail's amazing.
Yep. These are a couple different cheetahs. This is a Carrera cheetah, and this is one of the cars that Super Tires or doesn't make tires for. So this has aftermarket wheels on the back. These are made by BWA, which I don't think you can get BWA wheels anymore except maybe on eBay. And it made a huge difference in the way this car runs, mostly because you can put better tires on it, and that obviously helps all the time. This is a fly car. It's basically stock except for the wheels. These are BBS style wheels, and these are made by BRM, same company that makes the wire wheels for that. And it really makes a big difference in the way the car, well, because most...
wow, you can even see through them.
Yeah, a lot of the plastic wheels that are out there now are, okay, they're not square, but they're not perfectly round. So you get a little bit of hop in the car sometimes. And as soon as you replace them with the aluminum or metal wheels, which are truly round, it really smooths the car out and it really drops your lap times.
Do they make any carbon fiber chassis?
No, but there are a ton of 3D printed chassis out there now.
Nice.
Slotting Plus, a company, carries a few. There's a couple of aftermarket companies you can go to on some of the slot car forums, or just Google up 3D printed slot car chassis, and there's quite a few people out there that are starting to do them now, and they're getting real popular. Because some of the chassis for, say, these career cars are really, really heavy, and some of the serious racers don't like them because they're not that fast. I personally do like them, but they're a lot of fun to drive. But they're starting to make 3D chassis now where you can put better motors and motor pods. It's a separate pod where the motor sits, and you can actually adjust that for better tuning. That's something we'll talk about later too.
So while we're on the subject of weight, is there a minimum weight that the car has to meet for certain races?
Some of the clubs do have minimum weights, and some of them have maximum weights. Actually, with magnets, they have maximum magnetic attraction too. There's a device out you can use to measure the attraction of the magnet, and if it's too much, then you can't run it, or you have to do something to fix it. But yeah, a lot of people have minimum weights, and our clubs don't generally get that technical. We have clearance. The height, the chassis has to be a certain height off the ground, and wheels can't be sticking out and that kind of thing. But we haven't done a minimum weight thing yet. Hopefully, we don't. I think that's a little bit too crazy. Unless you're running a national, some of the national races that they have, it's not really that big of a deal.
Nice. Well, I think that pretty much covers everything up. Guys, we're going to do a video. Like I said, right now we're going to get ready to go do some some driving. So it's going to be a video of me driving and to show you guys the difference between magnet cars and non-magnet cars. And then the next video is going to be us taking the magnet out and talking about tuning of the car. As always, guys, thanks for tuning in. Please hit the subscribe button. Check us out at Colepar's Hobbytown on Facebook. Check out colepar.com, our website, or come on in and check us out. Tom knows just about anything and everything to do with slot cars, so you guys got to come down and have some fun. We have a beautiful track, lots of fun, and plenty of knowledge. So as always,
Keep it in the slot.